That's going to come in the form of like probably a muscle like twitch where like your diaphragm will flex, or you might like kind of like swallow, or like your neck will tense up. Basically, you'll go from a relaxed state to like something will happen. So this is not a how long can you hold your breath test. This is a how long does it take for that to happen test. So the way it works is we inhale through the nose, we exhale through the nose, we pinch the nose, and we basically just relax as long as we can. When our body tenses up, the test is over. All right. So what I'll do is I'm just going to put the stopwatch here and I'm going to start it right now. You guys can just subtract whatever number you started at. So I'm not keeping track of your score. Inhale, exhale, pinch. And then try to relax. When you inhale, make sure it's through the nose. Good. Good. Okay. So I'm just going to mute you there. So the Bolt score it's a really good way to measure it as long as you do it consistently for you. It can be subjective because sometimes you can suppress something that you didn't realize you suppressed, and you'll get better at it as you go. But when we do this oxygen advantage training, if you do the training the right way, which we're about to do, that Bolt score should improve from the beginning of the session to the end of the session. So if you were to do this Bolt test again, after we do what we're about to do, you should get a slightly better number. That's how you kind of know you're doing what you're supposed to do. All right. So I just got one more person hopping in here. All right. I just got a quick recap. I made a little visual here of the we'll say 5 pillars. I kind of defined it as like a house of functional breathing. Okay. So I have this open house here, and the foundation is posture and relaxation. All right. Good posture and being relaxed will inherently make your breathing better. All right. And then the roof over our head here is that we're going to use our nose, the breathing organ that's meant to be used to breathe. That's a huge part of this. And then we have our 3 pillars here. Light breathing, that's the analogy I used of imagining like mist slowly moving over a lake. That's how slowly I want you to pull that air into your nose. Light breathing. Then we have low breathing. So this is diaphragmatic breathing, right? So when you pull that air in, it doesn't go into your chest, it goes into your lower belly. And then lastly, we have slow, slow breathing. So with slow breathing, there's a right number here. There's a goal number here, and it's 6. We want to be at 6 breaths per minute. Technically, it's 5.5 to 6, but 6 is easy to remember. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to have you guys all stand up. Okay, so this session is going to be from a standing position. And in that standing position, you're starting and you're finishing in functional breathing. Okay, so we're about to do these breathing exercises. I'm going to have you guys all stand up. All right. And you're starting and finishing in just focusing on those 5 pillars. Good posture. Okay. Nasal breathing, light, low, and slow. So in this standing position, the very first thing I need you guys to do, what do I do with my hands? Pick a place for your hands to go. Like you could go like this. You could just have them by your side. But I just want to bring your attention there because when we do what we're about to do, you're going to want to like move around. And what I'm going to ask you to do is come right back to here and be completely composed. All right. So we're going to take another 2 breaths, 2 functional breaths right now. 4 seconds in, 5 seconds out, 1 second pause. Through the diaphragm, nice and light. This right here, what you're doing right now, your goal when we finish the exercises is to come back to this right here. Okay. So the first exercise and the main exercise of this session, I'm going to call it walk, jog, run. but we're going to do it in the form of squats. So our walk squat is just the pace. So our walking squat is just a nice, casual, easy pace on our body weight squat. We're just focusing on form. All right. Our jog, you guys just keep breathing. You don't have to do these with me. Our jog is going to be pick it up a little bit, right? And then our sprint or our run is going to be as fast as you can, right? Like speed squats on repeat. Okay. So we're calling this walk, jog, run, and we're doing it on a breath hold. So I'll talk through this once, and then we're going to do it. We inhale, we exhale, we pinch. Okay. Pinching our nose is actually part of this. When you feel it and you move that tissue around, it wakes it up a little bit. It'll start to work more efficiently when you unpinch. So we inhale, we exhale, we pinch. I'll tell you to walk. I'll say pick it up to a jog. I'll say pick it up to a run. It's going to be uncomfortable. Bear with me. Okay. These first 2 sets are pretty tough, and then you get the hang of it. Okay. So on me, let's go in, or finish your exhale rather. Sorry. So finish this breath you're on right now. In, out, finish that exhale. And on me, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Pinch, start squatting. Nice and easy. So we should have no air in our lungs right now. Okay, pick it up to a jogging pace. Just a little bit extra. Okay, now go full speed. Push it, and breathe. Now come back to that functional breathing pattern. Your heart rate just rose a little bit. Bring it back down. Okay. When you bring air in through your nose, don't let your chest rise. Make it your belly. The other way you can do that is you put your hands on your ribs. Okay. Your ribs should expand. And you can hear me breathing because I'm trying to show you that movement, but you shouldn't hear yourself breathe because you want to make this light breath is so important. Okay. That's 1 set. We're going to hit 5 sets of this, guys. We're going to hit 5 sets. All right. That's the magic number with this oxygen advantage training. When you hit these 4th and 5th sets, your body starts to actually make the adaptations that we're going for. So sets 2 and 3, still going to be a little bit of a grind. Bear with me. All right. So let's go one more functional breath. Finish your exhale that you're on right now. And we'll go in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pinch, walk. Good. Nice and easy on the walk. Your goal is to stay relaxed. Okay. Jog. Even as you pick the pace up, you still stay relaxed. Good. And run. Push the pace. There you go. Whenever you need to breathe, breathe. Good. Nice job. And now you're just focused on the functional breathing. That is our foundation. Okay. Good. Yep. All right. So that's 2 out of 5. Good job. So I'm going to add another layer to this. Okay. This is a little bit more advanced, but this is how we really make adaptations. So the layer is when you unpinch at the end of the set and you stop, squatting and you breathe in, we're going to do 6 breaths of what's called minimal breathing. Okay. When you're doing this, you're using oxygen. Your muscle tissue is using oxygen, yet we're simultaneously not giving ourselves new oxygen, which is what brings on that uncomfortable feeling, right? So when you start to breathe in, we're going to train our body to be more used to this hypoxic state, which is what we're entering when we do this. So when we breathe in, you want to breathe fast and like catch yourself back up. But I want you to try to cut those inhales short. So you basically start to breathe in, cut it short, hold it for a second, exhale slow. You're going to really feel that same feeling you felt when you were doing the breath hold. Then you're going to want to inhale sharply again, cut it short. And then you're going to hold, and then you're going to slowly exhale. So this next layer that happens after the breath hold ends. Does that make sense? Thumbs up. All right. That's where willpower comes in. You got to control your breathing at the end of the set. All right. So let's go on me. Finish your exhale. And in, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Pinch, walk. Nice and easy. Focus on your form here. Focus on good posture. All right, jog. Good. Pick up a little bit. It's a little bit uncomfortable. Go towards that. Okay. And then run. Push the pace. Push the pace. Hit that full speed. Hit that full speed. All right. Whenever you need to breathe, breathe. Okay. 6 breaths. Minimal breaths. Minimal breaths. Pull air in. Hold it. Let it go. Pull air in. Hold it. Try to pull air in slowly if you can. So we're not doing functional breathing yet. We're doing minimal breathing. Once you get 6 breaths, and you guys should feel this. Now, that was the 3rd set. You should start to feel like, okay, I know what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to that uncomfortable state of a increase of CO2, right, in the blood. And now I'm trying to control my breath in that state. Even though my body's screaming at me to take in big breaths, I'm choosing not to. All right. This is where the willpower of the human, and it comes into play and allows you to get these adaptations to happen faster and sooner by doing these little nuanced things that we're doing here. We got 2 more sets. I want you guys to keep in mind, when you do this on your own, you want to come back to like a fully rested state before in between sets, which we don't really have time to do here. So don't be surprised if set 3 was way harder than set 2, or set 4 is way harder than set 3, or, it should get easier if you were to fully recover in between each set. Okay. So just keep that in mind. We're probably not fully recovered just yet, but that's okay. All right. So let's go finish your exhale. And in, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Pinch and walk. Nice and easy. Focus on your ground contact. Feel your big toe pushing into the ground. All right. Pick it up to a jog. Good. Stay relaxed. All right. And hit the sprint. Hit the sprint. Full speed. Full speed. Push it. Push it. Push it. Okay. Whenever you hit your max, breathe. Good. 6 breaths, minimal breaths. This should be uncomfortable. Go towards that uncomfortableness. Just a little bit of air and cut it. Slow exhale. A little bit of air, cut it. Slow exhale. 6 of those. All right. After those 6 minimal breaths, you return to functional breathing. Good posture through the nose. Light. All right. You shouldn't hear it. Low. Get that rib cage to laterally expand, and slow, right? 4 seconds in, 5 seconds out, 1 second pause. That's our functional breathing. All right, good job. That was your 4th set. That set should have been the set that your body's like, okay, I think I see what you're trying to do to me here. All right. So, this is it, we're tipping the iceberg here. We're also skipping steps in some regards to what the protocol is for this oxygen advantage. But this is the good stuff, what we're doing right now. If you can hone in on what we're doing right now, this is the good stuff. All right. This is how you really increase your tolerance to CO2 buildup. Let's go 2 more breaths. Take your time with 2 more breaths. All right. And then whenever you're ready, finish your exhale, pinch, and walk. You can do this time-based. You can do this feeling-based. You want to walk until it starts to get a little uncomfortable. And then when it gets a little uncomfortable, you jog. And then when it gets a little bit more uncomfortable, you start that sprint. So this is on you. Good. Minimal breaths at the end. Try to make it so you can't even hear your breathing. Minimal for 6 breaths. Good job, guys. All right, so that's that 5th set. So set 4 and 5 is really where your body's like, all right, I think I get this, and then your mind starts to understand, okay, I think I feel where this threshold is. That's the key, is that when you understand where your threshold is, you can start to try to live at that line a little longer, that nuance of the minimal breaths at the end of the breath hold. That's a real art. That's not easy to do. All right. Any questions with that exercise, guys? Yeah, a big
The
question.
minimal breath, I'm assuming the minimal breath is supposed to also be fully nasal when you said like you shouldn't be able to hear it. Is
Yeah.
that accurate? And so like, is the count like 1
Good
and
question.
1?
Good question. So you're probably going to hear it simply because at the end of the breath hold, you want air so bad that it's going to pull air in, especially that very first breath. It's going to pull air in fast, right? But the key is that you don't go. That's kind of what you want to do, right? That's what your body wants to do. But what I'm asking you to do is just by cutting it short. So cut it short, hold it, and then try to relax on the exhale. And then, oh, I feel that CO2 again. I'm going to take a big breath, cut it short, try to relax on the exhale. So there's no set amount of seconds that I want you to take. I literally just want you to take in as little as possible. Because if I were to inhale for a second versus inhaling for a second, that second one you didn't hear. So I got much less air on that second one, even though it was the same amount of time. So the goal would be to make it as light and as short as possible, but that's kind of like where you need to experiment with this for you. When you do 5 sets of what I'm calling walk, jog, run in the form of squatting, how hard is it for you to do those how hard is it for you to do quiet minimal breaths? And really what should happen, what I've experienced, is that the first breath or 2 of those 6 are loud. And then the next 3, 4, 5, and 6, I'm able to make them quiet. Even though I still feel like I want to take in that aggressive fast breath. I'm using sort of my willpower and now my control with my diaphragm to avoid that. All right. And then I want you guys also to note the context of what we just did. We skipped steps. Okay. I jumped right to the good stuff. Normally what we would do, like with Oxygen Advantage protocol, is we would do inhale, exhale, walk, just walk. How long can you walk? And you could do this around your apartment. You could do this around the house, outside, before you need to breathe. That's also one of your tests. We did the Bolt test measurement, which is a seconds. You can also do what's called the maximum breathlessness test, which is exactly what I just described. Inhale, exhale, pinch, and walk, and count how many casual steps you can take before you need to inhale. We would do 5 sets of that. Then we would do 5 sets of inhale, exhale, pinch, walk, jog. 5 sets of that. Then we would do what we just did, walk, jog, run. So we kind of skip steps. Not that makes it bad or less useful. We're on a time crunch. I wanted to make these kind of short and sweet sessions. So I just wanted to give you guys that context. If you practice this on your own, it will bring way more awareness to your threshold, to how you can control your breath while you feel that uncomfortableness of a CO2 buildup. You will get more control over that if you do it in the progression that I just described, where you just do walking, then you do logging to jogging, then you do walk, jog, sprint, and then you would do sprinting only. Inhale, exhale, sprint. So now you're at that top gear the whole time. Right. And essentially what we just did, guys, is we did a nose unblocking exercise. Your nasal airway should be pretty open right now, and then, more on the science side of things, and this is actually more engineering than science. If you pull air in Like when I say light, the opposite of light is heavy, right? If you heavily pull air in, so it's loud, you might even be able to see it on my freaking nose. The airway constricts, like it literally gets pulled inward, right? Because I'm trying to pull more air in than the airway allows, and it constricts. Whereas if you pull air in really slowly, which you can't hear it when I do it, the airway actually opens up. So it's counterintuitive. The slower you pull air in, the more oxygen that will get delivered to your tissues. Right. So it is a little bit counterintuitive, but you start to feel it. You start to feel it when you breathe slow in this functional manner that we're doing at rest, with that house that I laid out in week 1. Your everything is functioning the way it should be. That is where you want to be. So one thing to note here for those of you that are going to take this and work out is you pick your heart rate up and you start to work out more. It is better to take bigger breaths, but less of them than it is to take smaller breaths and more of them. Right. So, and this will be a good kind of closer here. I'm going to do a little whiteboard thing here. So think of this circle as your full capacity of your lung. Like that full circle is you, as much air as you could possibly fill, that would fill that circle, right? And when you breathe functionally at rest, which is what you're doing right now, I'm kind of asking you to fill it like a little less than halfway, and then relax. So you're not stressing yourself. And so this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. But when you start to work out, I want you to avoid doing this where you're like taking in these half breaths, but you start breathing really rapidly. I'd rather have you take in full breaths, and they could even be loud. And then all the way out, and then all the way in, and then all the way out. So as you incorporate some of this stuff into your workouts, just note that when you feel the need to breathe faster, try to turn that into breathing fuller breaths, but not actually speeding up and hyperventilating. All right. There's going to be moments in sport, in training, in maybe a confrontation in life, that fight or flight mode, mouth breathing, fast breathing. Oh man, I do something right now. Boom, lay a hit on someone. Boom, whatever it is, that it makes sense to be in a fight or flight mode. But those moments are few and far between, right? And then the question becomes, how quickly can you come back to what you're doing right now? I had one of the people that was in my sessions last week was like, can you just give me like an overview of what oxygen advantage is? It's hard to describe, but in a nutshell, I mean, this is a system of how to breathe all day and all night. Whereas these other strategies, box breathing, I love box breathing. Wim Hof, I love Wim Hof breathing. That's something you do for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes to get a specific effect, and so you feel it while you do it. And maybe the couple minutes right after, especially with Wim Hof, it has very profound effects. But then how do you breathe the rest of the day and while you sleep? That's why oxygen advantage is different. It's a whole system of how you can improve your CO2 tolerance, this, that, the other. But at the core of it is how you should breathe just at rest, and starting with that and building that into your training. Does that make sense with the fuller breaths, but less of them? When you're training, it takes a little bit of mental, awareness, but when you start to, breathe faster because you're training, allow your lungs to fully expand, but try to take less breaths overall, right? Less breaths is better. Again, it's literally counterintuitive, but the less you breathe, the more oxygen that gets delivered to your muscle tissue. It's very weird, but it's true. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? I'm gonna cut this recording.